Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So it's Monday and that can mean only one thing, another glorious Primarch video. And today we're going to be looking at someone who's been requested so many times I've lost track, and that is your boy the Lion, Lionel Johnson. Mr. I don't like any of my brothers, I'm the best, I should have been War Master, that kind of Lion guy. So let's jump in and let's get started. If you're joining me for the first time, this series is dedicated to looking at every Primarch returning to the current 8th edition storyline. Nothing is confirmed, everything is just theory, looking at how they could return, if they could return. The big thing in this series is if they return, and we're just looking at the possible outcomes if they do. Now, the Lion is actually one of my favourite Primarchs, believe it or not. I know a lot of people hate him because the way his attitude is and the way he acts around his brothers, but I think that makes an absolute great character. I love how antisocial he is. I think that is one of the biggest things I look forward to if the Lion returns in the current 8th edition storyline. Now, for those of you who do not know who the Lionel Johnson is, he is the chapter master of the First Legion, the glorious First Legion. They always bloody remind you that they're the First Legion. Doesn't really matter though, they're the first that betraying the Emperor. And he was basically one of the greatest Primarchs. He's actually got a load of victories under his belt, everything like that. And what happened with the Dark Angels, and briefly just got to go over it quickly, is that there was a chap called Luther who wasn't a Space Marine. He was basically a human who had implants and stuff to try and get up to that superhuman level. Luther was basically Lionel Johnson's stepdad. He found him on Caliban, he raised him, taught him to be a knight, all that kind of stuff. Luther was renowned to be the greatest Caliban knight that ever lived, but of course with Lion coming up and him being a Primarch, he basically took over him, and Luther was forever then in the Lion's shadow. You could probably say that's where the jealousy kind of started, I would say. While on the Great Crusade, Luther was sent back to Caliban in disgrace. Again, I'm not going to go over all the stuff. You should go and read this. It's amazing. And while there, he basically just got influenced by chaos, and he slowly just turned against the Imperium, the Lion, and he basically started to make all the Dark Angels who were being recruited on Caliban to be for Luther instead of the Lion and the Imperium. So when the Horus Heresy ended and the Lion returned to Caliban to all right, we're home now, let's rest and let's think where we go from here, Luther opened up on the Lion on the Lion's fleet in orbit, destroyed loads of ships. The Lion retaliated, fired down. The Lion went down, fought Luther, but at this stage, Luther is fully pumped up with chaos magic. He's not Horus level pumped up chaos magic, but he's hench. The guy's got some muscle, and he was able to go one-on-one with the Lion. We don't really know what happened in the duel. What we do know is that the Lion was basically made unconscious. The Watchers in the Dark basically played with the Lion and took him away somewhere and put him in a box. So the Lion is in stasis on the rock. Caliban was destroyed, and they were able to make a fortress monastery from the ruins of Caliban, and that's what you see now. That's what's called the Rock. Luther was imprisoned in the cells, but in the current 8th edition lore, Luther has escaped, or has he been let go? We don't really know. They say he's escaped, but I have a theory, which we're going to discuss, that he was let go by some people, and this is where the 8th edition story lies. So since the Horus Heresy, the Lion has basically been asleep. Well, that's what they say, asleep. We don't know how he's asleep. We don't know if he's in stasis. He wasn't really badly injured from what the old lore states. It was just basically knocked unconscious, so he's not being held in stasis like Gilliman, where he's close to death or anything like that. So it's nothing on that kind of scale. I think it was more like chaos magic knocked him unconscious, and he's been sleeping. There's a theory that the Watchers in the Dark who took him away, it's basically these little goblins, I would say. I really don't know what they are. They're little people, hoods. You see them all on the GW models, are actually keeping him asleep. And the theory is that maybe they're waiting to bide their time to let the Lion out onto the galaxy at the right time, instead of letting him go right now and then he gets killed and then chaos can come back and do it. They're biding their time for when chaos is at its utmost height to unleash the Lion, and he can go on his hunt and purge and kill and do whatever. Now, at the start of the 8th edition, when the Great Rift split the galaxy in twain, the Rock actually was getting attacked by a chaos horde, or should I say demons. And during all this chaos, there was demons on, all the Dark Angels were repelling them, fighting them, and all that kind of stuff. If I recall correctly, Rebooted Gilliman showed up with a bunch of Primarchs Marines. Reboot is everywhere. He's basically like Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. He just turns up like when you need him with like an armor, and they were able to save the Rock and do that kind of stuff. But Azrael then discovered that Luthor, who has been a prisoner of the Dark Angels for like these 10,000 years, he's basically been kept alive, and every chapter master just goes in there and interrogates him, and tries to get as much information out as possible, because since Luthor was basically corrupted by chaos, he knows like chaos demons and stuff. Like this has been, I think it was in a short story where Azrael fought Khan, and Azrael was able to banish one of the demons because he knew the demon's name, because he got it off Luthor. Luthor gave him like all the intel on chaos, so he actually knew the demon's true name, so he was able to have control over him and kill him and stuff like that. It was really, really awesome. So that's what they've been doing for 10,000 years, basically torturing him, getting all the information. Why did you do this? Why, Luthor? Who made you do it? Twisting his arm, taking off his fingernails, waterboarding him. Anything you can imagine, torture, but 40k torture. That's what they've basically been doing to Luthor. But now, in the 8th edition storyline, now after like the Great Rift has happened, Luthor is no longer on the Rock. Luthor has actually escaped. He's no longer there, and Azrael now fears that Luthor is gathering a legion-sized strength of Fallen to him. It's actually mentioned in the Codex that the Fallen are gathering in legion strength in the north of the Imperium. I think it's called the Nephilius sector, if I'm not mistaken. That's where the Legion is gathering, and now this is where I think the Lion is going to come into play. Now, the Lion, for me, has always been a hunter. I've always personally viewed him as a hunter. Like, he hunted down all the beasts on Caliban. He destroyed all them with, like, Luthor and his knights before, like, the Emperor turned up and said, son, and he was like, father, and he set off on his great crusade. One of his biggest hunts was Conrad Kurz. If you haven't read the series in the Horus Heresy, the Lion and Kurz have been back and forth with each other, constantly battling and stuff like that, and he always hunted him down, and eventually he did bring him to justice. It was a great little read. Go and read it. It's amazing. One of probably the best Primarch battles in the Horus Heresy series. So the Lion for me is a hunter, and I see him, of course, being woke up. I don't know. This is another big thing. I don't know how he's going to wake up. Is it going to be the Watchers of the Dark finally wake him up and say, right, Lion, case is at the door. Let's do this. Let's go out, purge. We've kept you here safe, so we can unleash you at the right time. Or is, like, the Emperor going to, in a kind of a way, wake him up through his, Emperor gifts? I'm not too sure how that would really go down. I'd love to get some feedback on how you think that could happen, but I personally see it as the Watchers do something, and that's how he wakes up. Now, when he does wake up, this is where the fun begins, as I always like to say, because the Lion has always been an interesting character. Like I said at the start of the video, he's not the best to get on with. He's kind of antisocial. He keeps himself to himself. He's very abrupt. He's very brutal with his opinions of his brothers and stuff, to their face, by the way. He doesn't really care what anyone thinks about him. So when he comes back to the 8th edition and he sees the chaos around him, I'm not just mean like chaos like demons and stuff, but the chaos of the Imperial Dream, the structure of the High Lords and stuff like that. I know Gilliman's been doing his best. He's like removed some of the High Lords and all that kind of stuff, but he's got to see like the structure, and I can see him really coming back and saying, what in the Emperor's name have you done to my father's dreams? Right, that's it. I'm stepping in, and I'm going to put my foot down. I'm going to start making some laws, because you people cannot govern each other. The Dark Angels are basically going to be his, like, law enforcement on this. Like, every Dark Angel successor is going to bow down. They're going to go to the Lion. There's not one successor I see that's got to, like, conflict and say, no, your time is done, but I don't believe you. Every Dark Angel successor is basically going to be on the side of the Lion. Now, with that force behind him, because the Dark Angels have a lot of successors, I think he can really make a mark on the Imperium. I don't see Civil War Mark II, but I see him disagreeing with Gilliman on a lot of subjects. The Lion, like I said, has his own mindset. He does what he wants to do. He knows what's best for the Imperium in his mind, and if anyone else disagrees, they're basically wrong. Now, Gilliman, and the Lion and Sanguinius in the Horus Heresy set up something called the Imperium Secundus. The Lion agreed that that Sanguinius should be the Emperor. He had it in his mind that he didn't want Guilliman to be the Emperor, because Guilliman was like basically making his little state or little empire, let's say, and the Lion didn't really like that. So when the Lion comes back and he basically sees Guilliman as the de facto Emperor, I think that is going to be a bit of he's going to be very, very annoyed. I don't think he'll be angry, but I think he'll be very, very annoyed of how the situation has come around, that Guilliman has finally got all the control, and he, again, has basically been pushed aside, and he's not got overall command, because the first time he got pushed aside was for War Master. He was very hurt that he felt like he should have been War Master, not Horus. In hindsight, maybe he should have been War Master. But on that subject, I think the Emperor may speak to him, and just say, hey, look, this is why Guilliman is in this position, because the Emperor does speak to his sons in this new 8th edition. Guilliman actually went to Terra, and the Emperor spoke to him. The Emperor told him, like, basically, you are basically me now. You should take command of the Imperium and try and fix everything. He actually told him a load of other stuff as well, but I'm not going to spoil that, because you should go and read the Dark Imperium novel by, I think it's Guy Haley. It's amazing. And I kind of see that, like, the Lion going back to Terra in one way to try and sort out the political situation, and having an audience with the Emperor, and the Emperor just, gives him some hindsight and says, like, listen, son, listen, Mr. Lion, this is why I'm doing this. I need you to be my weapon. Guilliman is the political force, but I need you to be my weapon on the battlefield. I think if the Lion gets that from the Emperor, I think he'll be okay. I don't see the Lion taking orders off Guilliman in any other circumstance. Like, if he doesn't have the audience with the Emperor and Guilliman comes to him and says, right, Lion, I need you to do this and do this and do this. The Lion, I just can't see where his personality is. Well, during the Horus Heresy, I don't know if it may have changed during the end of it, because we haven't got that far yet, but I just can't see him going, okay, Rabute, I'm going to follow your orders out of this. He was going to say, no, I want to do it this way, because it's more strategic to do it like this and like this, like this. Guilliman, the Lion was prepared to, like, kill Sanguinius and stuff, like, during the Horus Heresy, during, like, this bombing thing in Ruinstorm. The Lion is brutal. It's always about the tactical advantage for the Lion. He doesn't really care who's in the way, who gets hurt. If your death is the cost for victory, then that's it. He won't think twice about pressing the button and blowing you to Kingdom Come. Now, politics aside, one of the massive things for the Lion's return, I personally think, is Luthor's escape and the gathering of the fallen Dark Angels in Legion Strength. Again, I will state the word in Legion Strength. It actually states it in the Dark Angel Codex, is that the fallen angels are gathering in Legion Strength. Now, you can probably debate how big a Legion Strength is. I'm probably going to say like 10,000 plus Marines. That's Legion Strength to me. So if it's 10,000 plus fallen Dark Angels gathering, then you're going to need a force or a leader commanding a certain force to go against that. And of course, that's what I see the Lion coming back. He wakes up, Azrael tells him everything that's happened about, the Fallen, Luthor's capture, Luthor's escape, the Fallen gathering in Legion Strength, and the Lion is going to be like, right, okay, let's go out, let's do this, let's take the fight to them, let's get our revenge on our traitorous brothers. They basically were the reason Caliban was destroyed. They were corrupted by chaos, they're weak, they're nothing. Let's go out and let's hunt them down. Now, this is where it could get interesting, because there's two ways you can go about this now. Is that, do the Dark Angels still keep the secret about the Fallen, or do they let everyone know about the Fallen and Luthor and what happened on Caliban? I would like to go with that they don't really care what anyone else thinks, just let everyone else know. I kind of think like the Fallen is kind of a weak storyline now in 8th edition. Ever since we learned that basically the White Scars had something similar happen to them, where a huge majority of their chapter turned and was on Horus's side, and they tried to turn the Khan to Horus's side and stuff like that. So I don't really see the point in the Dark Angels keeping secrets anymore, especially, you know, with Guilliman and the Lion returned. You know, they have a leader who will say, yes, so what? You know, they turned. I'm going to go out. I'm going to hunt them down. If the Lion is completely honest with Rebute and says, right, you know, this is what happened at Caliban. Of course, I couldn't tell you because I was in a deep sleep. Luther turned, and, you know, the planet turned, and all the Marines on that planet turned against the Imperium. We're going to go out. We're going to go hunt them down. Then Guilliman can maybe like, okay, that's it. That's your job. You go over there. I'll leave you to it. You go and purge, and you go and hunt those fallen down. And I think that is probably the best situation, because it just unleashes the Lion. He can do his own thing. Guilliman then can do his own thing as well, and not have to worry about the Lion like every turn. And, you know, is the Lion going to follow my command? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do this? He's basically going out, getting vengeance, and he's hunting down the fallen, and he's hunting down Luther as well. I think it could make for a really interesting campaign story when it comes to tabletop. The Fallen versus the Dark Angels versus Dark Angels, you know, Chaos versus Imperium, that kind of way. I think it'd be a really cool to introduce some new models, some new Dark Angel models, some new Chaos Marine, you know, Fallen-esque kind of models. You could probably do like a little triumphant box set, maybe have the Lion, Luther, and I don't know, someone else, maybe a new Azrael model, since Azrael is like really, really old and looking absolutely unfunky at the moment on the GW website. So maybe you can do like a little triumphant box set like they did with Guilliman the Grey Knight and Cypher, I think it was like a year ago now, was it? So I think model-wise, that's how they could bring that back. And like I said at the start, a campaign system as well. I love story. I love campaigns driven by story. I love the story aspect of the 8th edition. So if you can bring that to tabletop, where, you know, maybe there's they are gathering Legion strength and they've captured a planet, or they're capturing planets, and, you know, we as tabletop people decide the fate of the story, where it goes. If the Lion wins, maybe Luther and his Fallen fall back into like the Eye or something to, you know, hit again. If they win, maybe they take a sector of space and they actually start building up their empire then, and it, you know, it puts another front on the Imperium where they have to worry about, because the Fallen and Chaos have got this like nice little bit of real space now where they're sending like warring parties from, and, you know, that's their basically their base of operations. All right, chaps, I think that's me done for another video before I lose my voice. If you've got any ideas on how the Lion could return, or if, you know, if my ideas are horrible, you know, these are just my personal ideas, how I see it. If you've got a better idea, post it below. I'd love to read it. I'd love to like interact with it and see and just see all the cool ideas on how the Lion can return, why he could return, and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you check out my other Primarch videos on this series. I've done quite a few so far. I think this is number 8, if I'm not mistaken. I've lost track. There's so many Primarchs I've done. I think it's 8 or 9. If you want, just make sure you put below like what Primarch you want next. Just comment saying, like, you know, if you want Perturabo, don't put Perturabo because no Iron Warrior is allowed. So if you want, you know, like another Primarch, which I haven't done already, just post it below. And what I do, I gather like how many people posted that Primarch, and then I do that Primarch on how many people wanted it. So that is going to be the next video. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I've passed on some, well, my information. I say it's not new information, it's just theory information. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day and enjoy the rest of the week. It's Monday, so hopefully this has brightened up your day. See you now, and bye-bye.